Bitcoin bull market or bear market is the question that we've all been asking for. Where is Bitcoin now? Are we entering a bear market or are we still in a bull market? So let's get right to it and discuss the probabilities of whichever is to occur. So to determine whether right now is in a bear market or bull market, we can simply use the moving average indicator. Now, there's a specific time frame in which we have to use it at, in which it's the monthly time frame. Now, if we take a look at the Bitcoin monthly time frame if we use the 20-day moving average indicator in the monthly time frame, we can see that historically, every bear market occurs when the 20-day moving average is broken down, right? When price is not being able to be supported by the moving average line. Now, the current cycle, the current position we're in, is highly similar to the one we saw back in the 2022 bear market, just before it started, right? In which price formed like a double top pattern. We saw the first high in 64,000, and then Bitcoin dropped 50% and then rallied back again to a new all-time high at 69,000, right? The same thing we saw this year in this cycle, in which from 109,000, Bitcoin dropped to 74,000, all the way up to 126,000, a new all-time high again. And now we're back at almost the previous low, right? And this is exactly like a double top pattern, the one we saw in the 2022 bear market, just before it started. And the other thing that I want to highlight is that the current position Bitcoin is in is at the same position just before the bear market started, in which we saw a massive drop, which is last month, and then it's supported again by the 20-day moving average in the monthly time frame. Now, this is quite scary for us because it's like the same playbook, the same bear market playbook is playing out again. But could it be different this time? Maybe. If you want to talk about possibility, yes, but the probability of it occurring is very slim, right? So let's do say we are in the bear market. If this same pattern plays out again, we're gonna see a bear market in the next like 3 to 4 months, right? Just as we did in the 2020 cycle, in the 2022, just before the bear market started, where there is around 4 months of rebound from the 20-day moving average line, and the bear market started. So what we are willing to see, what we are going to see, what we want to see is for the next couple of months for price to be able to at least consolidate or maybe head on higher to invalidate this bear market roadmap play that we saw in 2022. So that's the first thing I want to discuss. Second of all is I want to discuss if this is a bear market, if we are entering a bear market, where is the next possible bottom area? Now, historically, Bitcoin has a tendency to bottom out its bear market at its previous high. So if we take a look at the 2012 cycle, it was the all-time high or resistance level is the next bottom for the 2016 cycle. And for the 2020 cycle, it was a more parabolic, so the bottom was way off from the 2016 high. But in the 2022 bear market bottom, we can see that it coincides with where Bitcoin topped out in 2016 cycle, in which is in oct- around 2018. The resistance level is the next bottom for the 2022 bear market. So assuming this pattern plays out, in which the bear market bottom is where Bitcoin topped out in the previous cycle, as the 2020 cycle topped out around 61 to 69,000. So that might be the next area for the 2028 halving cycle. Sorry, the next bear market bottom is around 61 to 69,000 as per previous resistance level in the 2020 cycle, which is approximately around a 30% drop from the current price of 89,000. So that's the second thing. And if we jump into a closer look, the last thing I want to discuss is where Bitcoin is now at a very small time frame, not a very small time frame compared to the monthly, which is at the daily. Now, if we jump to the 3-day time frame, we can see that the closest resistance level is a bit high, which means it's also a good sign that there's still room for rally and no need to expect any major drawdowns from here, as we're gonna retest that previous resistance level first. And that previous resistance level, the closest one, is at around 99,000, which is still far from the Fibonacci of 0.618. So there's a very high likelihood of a massive retest coming into December and January and also February for Bitcoin to recover from its massive drop from 126,000. So that's pretty much it for this video.